You might have been wondering what the Web.config file does, as you've seen it in every project that you've worked with so far. Web.config is an XML file which contains settings to tell the web server how to handle your website. By changing the settings in Web.config, you can modify many important settings. Changing settings in Visual Studio often automatically makes changes to your Web.config file. To begin this lesson, open the C# test sample file from your Sample Files folder. And open Web.config. Here you can see the XML code that defines your configuration settings. XML isn't actually a specific programming language. It's really a standard for storing information. The HTML code that you wrote earlier was a form of XML. XML always works as a series of nested tags enclosed in less than and greater than symbols, which open and close in the same way that HTML tags do. The Web.config file recognizes different tags to HTML, but basically works the same way. Because XML can be used to store any kind of value in a hierarchy, it's an extremely versatile way to store data. There is actually very little code inside the Web.config file. This is because you are using ASP.NET 4.5. ASP.NET 4.5 automatically manages a lot of settings that had to be specified in the Web.config file in previous versions. Now you're going to modify the Web.config file to switch on the Custom Errors feature. Custom Errors is a setting that determines whether ASP.NET displays the details of error messages to visitors to your site. On a live site, the details of errors should be hidden from visitors, as they contain glimpses into the site's code, which may be a security risk. Add a new line inside the system.web tag, and add the following code. Custom errors mode equals on, end custom errors. Now view crashme.aspx in your browser. It's important that you do this either by right-clicking on crashme.aspx and clicking View in Browser, or by opening crashme.aspx and clicking Debug, Start without debugging. You need to view the page without debugging, as otherwise Visual Studio will stop execution before the error is shown. A runtime error dialog is displayed, but it offers no further details of the error itself. In fact, it shows instructions of how to modify your Web.config file to show the error details. Close your web browser now, and return to Web.config. Now you're going to modify the code here to switch custom errors off. To do this, simply change mode equals on to mode equals off. Now view crashme.aspx in your browser again, and this time the full details of the error message are displayed, as you have switched off custom errors. You can also see a snippet of code that shows which line caused the error. This is the reason that custom errors shouldn't be switched off on a live web server, as it might show code that could help someone break into your system. There is a third setting for custom errors called Remote Only. This is actually the default setting for custom errors. In Remote Only mode, users who are viewing the site from the web server itself are able to see details of error messages, while the details are hidden from people viewing the site over the internet. If you don't set custom errors at all, it will default to Remote Only. Finally, you're going to modify Web.config to extend the length of sessions. In Lesson 3.11, you learned that a user's session on an ASP.NET site lasts for 20 minutes after their last request. But that is only the default. Using Web.config, you can make sessions last longer. Close your web browser now and return to Web.config. Now add a new line inside the system.web tag and add the following code. Session state timeout equals 60 end session state. This will make sessions last for 60 minutes instead of 20. There are a great many other settings that can be changed in Web.config, but for now it is just important that you understand what Web.config does and how you can edit its settings. As mentioned in Lesson 2.12, ASP.NET sites run on Microsoft IIS servers. Microsoft IIS has its own administration interface which can also change the settings in Web.config. Be aware that if you or your web administrator change settings using the IIS admin interface, the Web.config file on the server may no longer match the one you have on your own machine. Close Visual Studio now, saving your changes if prompted. You've now completed Lesson 3.13. Edit the Web.config file.